Hi, my name is Morgan VanDerLinde, and my topic today is what is the media's impact on mental health and mental health's negative stigma. To my surprise, many studies have been done on this topic. I chose to concentrate on three main points of my research to really highlight this large issue in our society. So those three main points are what causes mental health's negative stigma, how does negative stigma affect an individual with a mental illness, and what is being done to stop this negative stigma. So what causes mental health's negative stigma? So I focus on the visual representation, so that's the TV, movies, and prints. So the history. One of my sources, the National Art Education Association, examined the visual representations of mental health in the media and the impact over history that they've had. The article examines that the images of mental illness started way back before our current culture and images we see today. The article also goes into great detail describing and explaining how the long history of negative culture and negative images have shaped our negative stereotypes today. The images. Many sources that I found in my research cited that the images of individuals looking crazy or appearing different are usual representations of individuals with a mental illness. In an article from the U.S. News, author Kirsten Fawcett describes how the media paints a picture in the viewer's mind that there is something wrong or dangerous about every single person who has a mental illness, which is obviously not true. So continuing on with my visual representations, a big point I found was the access to media. So research shows that the more access an individual has to a media source, the more likely that individual will have a negative view of mental illness. In a study published in the Psychology of Popular Media Culture, researchers studied college students and their opinions on mental illness. The results showed that these college students, having obviously the largest amount of access to media, showed the most negative view of individuals with mental illnesses. And then the biggest point I have found in my research that kind of assigned responsibility to the issue of negative stigma is the coverage of mass shootings and violence in the media. In the journal article published in the American Journal of Public Health described how researchers found that only 19% of thematic news stories on mass shootings mentioned that the individual with a serious mental illness are not violent. In a study published in the Journal of Broadcasting and Electronic Media, researchers used 65 selected crime-based television episodes and 983 crime-based characters to examine the impact of media on negative stigma. The researchers showed, as expected, that the television series do influence negative stereotypical perspectives of mental illnesses. So then my next point, how does stigma affect an individual with a mental illness? Well, the big thing I found was the reduced chance of pursuing treatment. Many times the result of mental health's negative stigma is that individuals will be now hesitant to get treatment. In a journal article published in the Social Semiotics, author Kate Holland examines how the negative stigma individuals with mental illness face is proven to deter individuals with mental illness to get help they need. Attitudes and treatment. So a common issue I found in my research is how individuals with a mental illness are being treated due to negative stigma. In the Journal of Humanistic Counseling, Education and Development, the authors discussed their research study reviewing the media's impact on individuals' perception of others with mental illnesses. The results showed that the individuals that solely received their information and perspectives of mental illness from the media were less tolerable towards those individuals, the individuals with mental illnesses. So now what is being done to stop the negative stigma? Well, I found in my research that there was many anti-stigma programs, campaigns, initiatives, etc. I found in my research that there was two main examples that I kept seeing. One was Stigma Watch out of Australia. It's an anti-stigma campaign that was established by Sane Australia. It works to promote accurate portrayal of mental illness and suicide in media sources. And the other one was in California. It's called the SDR Initiative. The program has showed that many positive effects have been produced because of this initiative. There's effects such as California residents being more aware of the stigma that surround mental illness and better attitudes towards those individuals. So in conclusion, I found many sources of information explaining how the media impacts mental illness and the negative stigma of mental illness that I will intend to use in my paper. My hopes are that my paper and my research shed light on this incredibly important issue in our society today. Thank you.